born in ragged splendour of the rundown British Raj. Young Eric Blair, with brains to spare, was put in a prep school's charge. But the beatings and the system left a mark on his young mind, where privilege is given and seldom earned, and justice often blind. Through the snobbish days of Eton and Oxford's dreaming spires, how did the boy change to a man with socialist desires? But the 20s and the 30s were years of chronic poor. The ruling classes turned their heads, but some could not ignore. So keep the aspidistra flying, for freedom raise a cheer, as we tread the long and bitter road that leads from Wigan here. Did you think the rich would still be rich, still living off the poor, when you looked into the future at 1984? You're a bloody fool, young Eric, they said, if you think that you can write. What do you know of the real life, where men must starve or fight? But here's no wide-eyed dreamer to champion working men. He listens and he watches, his camera is his pen, and he sees the rank injustice where employment is a sin. He hears the cries of discontent and stores them all within, and he loathes the pompous logic that says profit's the only goal, while women of the down and out must scrap for slag heap coal. So keep the aspidistra flying, for freedom raise a cheer, as we tread the long and bitter road that leads from Wigan Pier. Can you see that woman unblocking her drains with hands grown red and raw, when you looked into the future at 1984? But the fascist tide was rising. To Spain all eyes were turned, that all extremists are corrupt is the lesson he has learned. And he writes his story of the pigs who pervert the workers' dream, where equality is unequal in a totalitarian regime. His body racked with sickness, he's one more work to write, to look into the future with a dying man's insight. And he warns us of Big Brother and a system based on fear. You got the date wrong, Eric, but I think it's getting near. So keep the aspidistra flying, for freedom raise a cheer, as we tread the long and bitter road that leads from Wigan Pier. Did you think by now there'd be an end to bloody global war, when you looked into the future at 1984? What would you be thinking, Eric, if you were here tonight, what injustices are overthrown, what wrongs put to right. Are we too deaf to listen, too blind with greed to see? George Orwell, time may tell the truth of your prophecy, so keep the aspidistra flying, for freedom raise a cheer, as we tread the long and bitter road that leads from Wigan Pier. Did you think the rich would still be rich, still living off the poor, when you looked into the future at 1984? I can close my eyes sometimes and still smell the smoke, as old Fred the porter slams doors. There's a glance at the clock and a nod to the guard, and the train is in motion once more. In the Rossendale Valley on a sultry warm day, the clanking of wheels echoes on. But it's all in my mind. When I wake up, I find that the last train from Bake-Up has gone. I can stand in the car park, remembering old tales of a station that's long since pulled down, of fly shunting wagons, and when they ran off the rails, ending up in the centre of town. Now the juggernauts carry what's left of the trade, with cotton bales piled high upon. And where I worked with me mates is now a housing estate, and the last train from Brighton has gone. And at 3 in the morning, when I used to sign on, I lie awake half in a dream. I'm a guard on a special bound for the coast, with a 460 getting up steam. We've got packages for printers, pigeons to release, spare seats after Haywood, not one. But now they jump on a plane for a fortnight in Spain, and the last train to Fleetwood has gone. And at measurements halt, the tracks have been lifted, the platform is all overgrown. There's willow and scrub where the Delft donkey ran, now the valley has claimed back its own. In the Saddleworth Hills on a crisp autumn day, a plume of smoke still lingers on. But I'm dreaming out loud, sure it's only a cloud, and the last train from Dobcross has gone. in the Rossendale Valley on a sultry warm day. The clanking of wheels echoes on, but it's all in my mind. When I wake up, I find that the last train from Bacup has gone. Flies around the town, as swift as any ball of flame. Wisps of ash and smoke drift down to tell the story just the same. At Whipsey, where the moorlands rise, across the street the neighbours call. At Idle too they strain their eyes to see destruction's deadly pall. At Manningham on the north side, smoke-black stragglers tell their tales, and where the monstrous pyre has died, the sirens they lament and wail. Off-duty nurse runs through the gate and hurries off to tend to burns. A mother who finds her sons are late is praying hard for their return. Football writers talk of shock when what they mean is just surprise, and to annoy is said to rock. Triviality must have disguise, despair and glory in one breath. When a bag of winds kicks in a net, the wind that blew the ball of death. The words have not been discovered yet, but yes, we know it's just a game, distraction from life's dreary toil. But to the victims there's no fame, and to the victors empty spoils. A phoenix from the ruins may rise, the glory can be built once more, but we should not forget the prize. Bradford 11th May, 10 to 4.
Whoever said that time could heal a broken heart should be tied to wild horses and dragged apart. If one more person tells me they've been down this road before, I'd be tempted to take something and not listen anymore. Just leave me to my grief. They're lying through their teeth, they've never loved. Or if they did, they've never loved enough. The way I love you. They talk of things they cannot comprehend. The last thing I need is another sympathetic friend. For sympathy is only tears dripping on a boulder. To wear that pain away, I'd be 1,000 years older. And in tears I'm overspent. You broke my heart in pieces when you went. You ground those little pieces in the dirt. And through the pain and hurt, I find I love you. Left me rotting in this hell, a burned out shell, but still I love you. I walk the empty streets at night, on wet pavements, reflected neon lights seem to spell your name out. Am I going insane? Can there be no relief for this cancer of the brain? Why did you choose to go? For God's sake, tell me what I need to know. You mumbled empty nothings as I cried. You stripped me of my pride, but still I love you. All the warnings went unheeded. You were everything I needed. At last I found my place. breaks me up each time I see your face. I'd give everything I've got to be with you, but you never knew how much I love you. Broke my heart in pieces when you went. You ground those little pieces in the dirt, and through the pain and hurt I find I love you. Tag was a fox, and he lived in a shed, but each waking moment that he lived, he wishes he were dead. 'Cause they fed him, if they remembered, on scraps not fit for swine. He was shackled with a rusty chain and a length of old clothesline. They never swept the straw out, he lay in his own mess, with cockroaches for company and the fleas which gave no rest. And he loathed the smell of his own fear and the hate which through him ran. But the smells he came to hate the most were the smells of dogs and man. And you who dress in scarlet and blow your trumpets loud, hope that you were satisfied and I hope that you were proud. Scarlet stands for slaughter, but you justify with pride. None of you were half as much as one fox has died. Sometimes through a knothole there comes a distant breeze, and Tag is stirred to memories of bracken, earth and trees. And his mind goes back to his home, the earth, his mother's warmth and love. He remembers too the terror of the scraping from above. His mother crouched and bristling, the command prepare to fight, but the panic is too sudden, with a blinding flash of light. There's a blur of writhing bodies and a snap of bloody jaws, and his mother's body torn and gasping, lying on the floor. Run, Tag, run, run from the dogs, run from the guns now. Run, Tag, run, run for your life. Run, Tag, run, run from the man and run from the guns now. Run, Tag, run, run for your life. Sometimes the door opens, they throw in a young hound to teach him to hate foxes and to learn to stand his ground. In his fright and his confusion, he snaps at Tag's dank coat. It's all the fox can do to keep the sharp teeth from his throat. And he remembers his young sister. She disappeared one day. They threw her in a bag and they carried her away, to drop her in a strange place and lame her with a knife, to make it look as though the hound had run her down and end her cruel life. And you who dress in scarlet and blow your trumpets loud, hope that you are satisfied and I hope that you are proud. You say that we are towners, that we don't understand. What is there to know when there is blood upon your hands? One night Tag is sleeping, but the nightmare is the same. He's running round in circles in the madman's crazy game. And at the door it opens quietly. He's cut free from his chain. It's the dreaded reek of humans, but this time it's not the same. Perhaps they've come to take him to a bloody snarling death, but no, this man is running. He can hear him pant for breath, and he's thrown into a box on wheels. A roaring fills his ears, but the gunshot and the jolting just stirs up his darkest fear. Run, Tag, run, run from the man, run from the guns now. Run, Tag, run, run for your life. Run, Tag, run, run from the man and run from the guns now. Run, Tag, run, run for your life. strange man binds his open sores. They feed him real meat. Is this some new game they're playing? Are they fattening him to eat? But he's too tired to struggle, and he senses what they've done. These men are more like foxes, like him they're on the run. Now Tag's running from the strange men. This time they don't give chase. They turn and walk away and leave him in this unfamiliar place. And he gulps in the scent of liberty. He's free to run again, but he's never free of the memory of the years of cruel pain. And Rip was a fox cub, ripped from the earth. He has no memory of his life in the short weeks since his birth. Lying cold and frightened in that dark and evil box, his only consolation is the smell of another fox. And you who dress in scarlet and blow your trumpets loud, hope it makes you satisfied and I hope it makes you proud. You say that fox are vermin and you do a public good, but all you do for the joy of shedding blood. And Tag was a fox, and he lived in a shed, and the man who put him there deserves a bullet in his head.
This is the Opaque University. And now over to the Engineering Practical and Philosophy Module Foundation Course 7B, Unit 1782. Programme number 4, Stan and the Art of Motor Car Maintenance.
When I first bought a Ford Escort, I hadn't had it long. In fact, it was on the way back from the garage that it started to go wrong. At first the engine coughed a bit, and then it spluttered much, and it soon became apparent that it hadn't got a clutch. Well, the garage didn't want to know, and I got in a state. But fortunately, I had got a knowledgeable mate. He's one of those smart asses who can wave some magic tool, but old Mumbo Jumbo put things right and make you feel a fool. We went down to a scrapyard for some part that he could use. Then he undid all the doings and he screwed up all the screws. He said you should learn car maintenance to save you from these dear knocks. He said it's very simple. For example, let's take this here gearbox. The gear lever's connected to the ball pin, and the ball pin's connected to the clutch release, and the clutch release connected to the clutch cable, and the clutch cable's connected to the diaphragm spring, and the diaphragm spring's connected to the centre plate, and the centre plate's connected to the flywheel, and the flywheel's connected to the selector forks, and the selector forks connected to the final drive, and the final drive's connected to the axle shaft, and the axles make the bloody wheels go round, and those are the works of the Ford. That Ford Escort, that Ford Escort, that Ford Escort, and these are the works of the Ford. But why bother with car maintenance when your car runs okay? The answer to this rhetorical question I soon found out next day. I was coasting down a 1 in 8 behind 2 oil tankers, so I thought I'd better slow down from 65, and I put me foot upon the anchors. Well, you know the feeling that you get 5 seconds before you vomit. When my foot went straight down on the floor, that's a feeling I got from it. In panic, my foot pumped epileptically. I crashed the gears down. When I came to a rest, me face was white, me upholstery was brown. Me mate came out to tow me in.
he thought it quite a joke. But I by now was seething, the expense would leave me broke. But he said it's no problem, as he removed the wheel. Then the mysteries of the braking system my mechanical guru revealed. A brake pedal's connected to the brake pipes, and the brake pipes connected to the brake drum, and the brake drum's connected to the caliper, and the caliper's connected to the shoe retaining pin, the shoe retaining pin's connected to the piston sealing ring, the piston sealing ring's connected to the piston, and the piston's connected to the dust seal, and the dust seal's connected to the spring ring, and the spring ring's connected to the anti-squeal shim, the anti-squeal shim connected to the brake pads, and new brake pads are what you're needing, then you're bleeding, brakes want bleeding, and those are the brakes of the Ford. Those Ford, that Ford, Ford Escort, that Ford, that Ford, Ford Escort, that Ford Escort, and these are the works of the Ford. I must admit that for a while my car then ran okay, but Dame Fortune was storing up trouble for a rainy day. I turned the key repeatedly, but the damn thing wouldn't start. It just gave a sickly groan like a dyspeptic elephant's fart. Well, I tried everything I knew, every swear word in the book. I even found the bonnet catch and went to have a look. But confronted with those oily guts, my eyes just went quite glazed. I sprayed in a can of WD-40, but alas, that was a waste. My matey came out grudgingly, but he knew a trick or two. He'd even got some swear words, which I swear were brand new. He said, your points are knackered, some maintenance you should try. And I said, what's the point? And he said this with a sigh. The starter key's connected to the starter motor, and the starter motor's connected to the solenoid, and the solenoid's connected to the battery, and the battery's connected to the alternator, and the alternator's connected to the point, and the points are connected to the ignition cord, and the ignition cord's connected to the spark plugs, and the spark plugs ignite the bloody petrol, and those are the works of the Ford. Ford, that Ford, Ford Escort, that Ford, that Ford, Ford Escort, that Ford, that Ford, Ford Escort, and these are the works of the Ford. Within a few months, I must admit, in matters mechanical and electronic, each component was replaced, the car was now bionic, and I was learning rapidly and even changed a tyre. Okay, I forgot to do up the nuts, but you'll admit that I'm a trier. Well then my mate reminded me about my MOT. I said, I don't think it really needs one, but I'll take it round to see. The garage said, you best leave it, mate, we're booked up till tomorrow. I said, well, it's just formality, unaware of impending horror. When I came round next day, I said, well, is it ready? He said, not that Ford Escort. You want to take it, eh, old steady? He gave a sort of evil snicker, like all garage mechanics do. Said, if you want that car upon the road, then I've got news for you. Your exhaust is falling off, it's shot through, your brake pipes are rusting nearly, worn through, your headlights and wiper meter adjusting, the sills are only held on by dirt and rusting, your state of shock absorbs it is shocking, and I doubt if your rocker box is rocking, and your steering track is nearly gone, sir. Is there really any need to carry on, sir? And your handbrake cable's loose and flaccid, and I think that your battery's leaking acid, and your seatbelt's trapped inside the left strap, and the old bloody issue is a death trap, and those are the faults of the Ford. That Ford, Ford Escort, that Ford Escort, that Ford, But now I've solved the problem of a non-practical brain. I sold the car for scrap, got a second mortgage out, and I take the bleeding train. But I'm getting there. Huh.
Oh, this job's so boring. Oh, Milton Keynes, it's so grey and dull, and what I really need is a holiday. Where should I go this year? How about Bracknell or Skelmersdale or... No, I know, Spain. Yes. Oh. worked too hard, felt I needed a rest. A fortnight in Spain, nothing but siesta, to lie in the sun and continually fester. 'Cause Manchester's not so warm, you will agree. I got my tickets, a late cancellation. I packed my bags in anticipation of a fortnight of loafing, no dash to the station. A cause for elation, I'm sure you'll agree. But the flight, it was cancelled. I spent 2 nights at Gatwick. The airline weren't helpful, never met people that thick. Only a large Irishman to talk to. I soon grew tired of Fat Mick. I was feeling that sick that I cried in my beer. At last we arrived at the airport at Majorca. I was feeling quite stiff, so I went for a walk. So I missed the free bus, the language I couldn't talk. It took me 2.5 hours to find a taxi driver I could understand. At the hotel, my hopes were diminished. It was more like a building site, mostly unfinished. I went into a meal tasting of rotten spinach. My bedroom contained a chair, but not a bed. I tried to telephone, but the phone wouldn't function. At using the lift, then I felt no compunction. It wouldn't work either outside a road junction. Meant all you could hear was the blaring of horns. I went to complain, but hoteliers in Spain have a way of saying, what you expect for what you're paying. There was nowhere else to stay in, so I went to the bar, ordered a sangria, but it only made me angrier. They said sangria is off. I said, what do you mean? He said, we imported from Trinidad and Tobago. I said something obscene. He said much worse, but in Dago. In sheer apoplexy I went down to the beaches, where ladies bathe topless, revealing their features, especially the places where the sun seldom reaches. Now I fancied some peaches, so I went to a stall. My experience there, it is soonest forgotten. The flies, they were rampant, the fruit, it was rotten. So I went into the box, the sort that you squat on, and when your thighs falter, you fall down the hole. Meanwhile, back on the beach, which was mainly volcanic ash, Germans and Swedes mocked poor Homo Britannicus, whose skin is so pale that the first sun's rays panic us, and we smear on sun oil, which just picks up dog turds. Then I fell asleep, into a sleep quite deep. The urge to move resisted. Next morning I was blistered. The doctor then I visited. He said it was my fault. He said stay out of the sunlight. But how can I have fun, right, or join in all the bun fights? So I spent the next 2 days in the bar. Got in a tiff with a waiter, ordered some squid and caviar, threw it up sooner than later. Next night at the disco I fancied my chances, but none of the ladies there fancied my dances. They were too busy fixing up holiday romances with Jose Antonio or some blonde Swedish git. But one, she said see, so we danced the fiasco. Her lips, they were hot, she'd been eating Tabasco. I said, where are you from, my little Spanish onion? And she said, I'm from Glasgow. And she asked if my mother had got a sewing machine. Next day, on a coat trip into the interior, I was feeling the effects of diarrhea and diphtheria. Added to this was a mild case of hysteria. The back wheels of the coach hung over a 100-foot drop.
The tour was a con, there was nothing but cactus and nice Spanish children who promptly attacked us. There was nothing but building sites and broken down tractors. It was all about as scenic as a wet Wednesday in Salford. I wanted to go home. I saw a dog's mouth foam. I said, your holiday, you can stick it. They said, you'll need a first-class one-way ticket. No luggage, they'd let some bugger nick it. So I went back to work for a rest. They said, where's your tandem? They were clearly not too impressed. I pretended not to understand them. Next year when I go on a jaunt, the brochures will be ripped into shreds. I'll ignore my workmates' wild taunts, spend a fortnight on the Costa del Mersey instead.
Well, perhaps not Spain. Ugh. No, I've always fancied going to Ireland, yes. Ireland, beautiful country, friendly people, and Guinness, and good music, and more Guinness. Oh, and the Guinness. Oh, and the music.
Bridget O'Malley, you've left my heart shaken with a hopeless desolation. I'll have you to know it's the wonder of admiration your quiet face has taken. Your beauty will haunt me wherever I go. Oh, the pale stars above the tall trees, the pale moon above the sea, are cold beside my darling, no purer than she. I gaze upon the cold moon ere the stars drown in the warm sea. The bright eyes of my true love are ever on me. But my Sundays they are weary, my Sundays they are grey now. My heart it is a cold thing, my heart is a stone. All joy is dead in me, and life has gone away now. Another has taken my love for his own. For the day it is approaching when we were to be married, but 'tis rather I would die than to live for to grieve. Oh, meet me, my darling, ere the sun sets o'er the barley, and I'll meet you there on the road to Drumsleigh. Then up spoke Bridget in a manner far from charming, saying, you're whinging wet wassock, you can whine all you like. If you think I'll go with you and leave me company, director, you can stuff your bloody barley and get on your bike. Then up spoke the feller
in loud lamentation, saying, I will lend it all if she will so scoff. So he's gone and stuck his head inside his gas oven, but he'd not paid the bills and the gas was cut off. So he's gone and stuck his head on the nearest railway line, but beaching he had closed it some 20 years before. Oh, sod this for a lark, he said, I'm going back to my parents, and I never will play the wild rover no more.
Are you fulfilling your potential? Do you have influence? Do people respect your decisions? If the answer to any of these questions is, I don't know, I give in, then what you need is a new outlook on life. A well-known publisher reports an alternative to struggling in the rat race.
Now when I were a lad, just turned 35, me old father he says to me, it's about time, son, that you learn facts of life, so I'm taking you out after tea. Well, he took me uptown to a great big hotel, to a meeting which I didn't understand. Then a fellow with horns on his head come up and put his arm under his knee, and he said this as he offered his hand. Oh, come in, roll your trousers up, give us a wink, for we masons know every dodge. And if trouble you're facing, just call on a mason, 'cause masons are true to the lodge. Now I'd been a clerk for nigh on 17 years, and I'd not won promotion, not me. So with a little bit more confidence I went into the boss to ask what the chances might be. Well, he went and fixed me with a cold icy stare and pointed me out to the door. So I gave him a wink of a most secret kind. He said, why didn't you say so before? Oh, come in, roll your trousers up, give us a wink, for we masons know every dodge. And if trouble you're facing, just call on a mason, 'cause masons are true to the lodge. Now I soon became manager, but after a while I was lacking the essentials in life. Those sort of things of which society approves, like a bank overdraft and a wife. Now I'd fixed me heart on sweet Mary Jane, but her father, the vicar, said nay. So after church next Sunday I shook him by the hand. He said, my boy, why didn't you say, oh, come in, roll your trousers up, give us a wink, for we masons know every dodge. And if trouble you're facing, just call on a mason, 'cause masons are true to the lodge. But to maintain my position with a large house and wife, I soon took to gambling on nags. And I'd borrow from company to cover me losses, intending, of course, to pay back. But the auditors caught me and brought me to court. The judge said it was the worst case he'd known. So I rolled up me trousers and gave him a sign. He added, I think mercy must be shown. Oh, come here, roll your trousers up, give us a wink, for we masons know every dodge. And if trouble you're facing, just call on a mason, 'cause masons are true to the lodge. So all through me life, when I get in a scrape with traffic wardens, policemen and such, I'll just say secret words like Scargill and McGregor, then troubles don't trouble me much.
Then now I become mayor, and me son's in the lodge. But one day I might pass away. If they send me down to hell, I'll just give 'em a sign, and I'm sure I'll hear St. Peter say, "Oh, come in, roll your trousers up, give us a wink, for we masons know every dodge. And if trouble you're facing, just call on a mason, 'cause masons are true to the lodge." Young man, there's something you should know. Young man, there's a place you can go. Young man, if your crisp topics are slow, there's a way to speed them up. And young man, doesn't matter if you're a fool. Young man, just learn a few rules. Young man, if you went to the right school, there's a way to get ahead. Come and join the MASON, the MASON. Young man, don't give up hope. Don't you listen to the Pope and join the Masons. And learn some secret signs, join the Masons. Get your career on the right lines, join the Masons. And avoid those nasty fines in the Masons. Join the Masons, 'cause Masons are true to the lodge. We've taught you our secrets, but don't you dare snitch. You could find yourself hanging under Blackfriars Bridge.
And now over to the Opaque University Foundation Panties and Bra course in Ethnic Studies for Social Workers and Teachers. Programme number 432, Future Trends in Folk Music. Number 3, The Ballad.
Matty Groves, wanna take you by the throat, wanna kick you in the teeth, Matty, 'cause you're a little rat who's in between my sheets. Now I feel for you like you feel for me. I wanna throw up in the lavatory. You're folk music's most promiscuous man, so take this rap from Grandmaster Stan. Matty Groves came into town with the intention of getting his trousers down. No woman was seeking this Casanova. He liked to get his leg over. Lord Arlen's wife came into the church, and for a man she began to search. Saw little Matty Groves sitting on his own, said, "Little Matty Groves, won't you come on home?" Now he didn't need no second bidding. The old man's away, well, no kidding. So she took him to her fancy pad, said, "Little Matty Groves, in fact, you ain't bad." So all night long they did sport of playing properly. Let me tell you, they weren't playing Monopoly. Clip, clap, oh clip, clap, it's the Matty Groves rap. Zip, zap. Oh, zip, zap, it's a load of old rap. But a servant, hearing what was said, swore his master would know who was in his bed. So across the fields he ran, and when he came to the river he swam. Now intelligent he wasn't very, his name was Brian, should have taken the ferry. But at last he came to Arlen's camp, and he told his story all soggy and damp. So Arlen mounted his white steed, said, "Matty Groves, you're gonna bleed." For vengeance he ran it on and on, yes, he was an avenger, and his steed was called John. But at last he came to the castle wall, saying, "Little Matty Groves gonna cut off your head." But a servant blew upon his hooter to let Matty Groves know he ought a scooter. But he just yawned and she was crying. He said, "Switch off the alarm, I'll have a 10-minute line." Zip, oh zap, zip, zap, it's a load of old zap. But Matty woke from his sleep. Lord Arlen was standing at his feet. Said, "Do you like the sheets? Do you like the doobie?" Said Matty, "Hey, it's your little wife who's groovy." Get up, Lord Arlen swore, "I ain't killing the man who's in the raw. Pick a sword, any sword, strike the first blow, and then my vengeance you're gonna know." So Matty, he struck the very first thrust, and wounded Arlen in the chest. Then Arlen, he was really rotten. He took out a gun and promptly shot him. Then he sat his wife upon his knee, saying, "Who do you prefer, that stiff or me?" Then up she spoke, "Never heard so bold. I prefer him dead to you and your gold." Now Arlen, he weren't taking no lip, so he shot her too, which ain't too hip. A grave for these lovers today, but put her on top, she preferred it that way. Oh, clip, clap, it's the Matty Groves rap. Zip, oh zap, yeah, zip, zap, it's a load of old rap. I'm Grandmaster Stan, I'm evil and mean. For God's sake, switch off that bloody drum machine! Next week, the course continues with clog popping and wheatmeal toasting. And that's the end of Opaque University programmes for today. Oh, thank God for that. Oh, I hate this job, it's so dull. Oh, Milton Keynes, it's so... oh, yuck. Oh, I wish I lived somewhere else. Somewhere west of London would be nice. Oh, let's have a look at the map. So, yes, the A4. Oh, Staines. Through Maidenhead. Bath. Bristol's next. Oh, on to Loo. Falmouth. Hang on, there's somewhere even further west.
Darling, it's coming on Christmas. Santa's been sharpening his claws. It's starting to rain, dear, and it's such a pain, dear, thinking what to get you, because ever since the day I done fell for your charms, dear, I done must have brung you everything. So just close your eyes for a real Christmas surprise. Hark the herald angels sing. This Christmas, my darling, I'm going to get you stuffed and mounted by a really good taxidermist. I'm gonna put your remains on a Penzance bound train and go out and get really legless. Do 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 do. Y'all, now at Christmas time you always let your mother come and stay with us for a month or three. But she does nothing but nag, dear. She's such an old bag, dear. She makes each Christmas such a misery. But this Christmas, well, it sure am gonna be different. I've got her a special present, and to you I'll tell. It's a lead-lined packing case labelled up for Penzance, so she can go and get stuffed as well. That's when I get you stuffed and mounted, stuffed and mounted. Very good taxidermist. I buy a really good taxidermist. Put your remains in a Penzance train. I'm gonna put your remains on a Penzance bound train. I'm gonna get really and go out and get really pissed loshed. Do 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 do. Y'all, now at Christmas time I love to see the kiddies, eyes open wide with delight at their toy. But why does it have to be 4 in the morning? I get woken from my drunken slumber by their noise. But this Christmas, well, it sure am gonna be different. My feelings to them I am gonna show. Their Christmas boxes this year have got brass handles, so you can take the little buggers with you when you go. That's when I get you stuffed and mounted, stuffed and mounted by a really good taxidermist. By a really good taxidermist. I'm gonna put your remains on a Penzance bound train and go out and get really legless. Do 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 do. Yo. Now don't you worry none that I'll be lonesome, that I'll miss out on all that Christmas cheer, 'cause I'll spend all of my days down at the pub, dear, getting drunk on that wonderful scotch and beer. And don't you worry none, I won't get no Christmas turkey. I've invited my secretary around to cook, and I think I'm gonna give her something special, because she is such a good secretary. That's when I get you stuffed and mounted by a good taxidermist, by a really good taxidermist. I'm gonna put your remains on a Penzance bound train. Go get Billy and go out and get Billy. Go and get Billy and go out and get Billy. Go and get Billy and go out and get really sloshed.